Today on the New Tech Machinery channel, we're going to discuss converting your New Tech Machinery WAV machine from the 12-1F profile to the New Tech Machinery WAV 16-4F profile. Hey, this is Bryan from New Tech Machinery, and today we're going to discuss swapping your WAV machine from the WAV 12-1F profile to the WAV 16-4F profile. At any point when using your New Tech machine, you want to make sure that your covers are on and secured in place and your guards are on the shear, and that you read and understand all of the warning labels around the machine, keeping your hands clear of the shear and the entry. Before we do anything with the machine, we just want to make sure that our lockout tagout is in place so that everybody's aware that the machine is in service. Now that the machine is safely powered down, remove all of the covers. To remove the shear guard and cover, you'll need a 1/2-inch wrench and a 3/8 wrench. Now that we've safely powered the machine down and locked it out, we've removed the covers, we're ready to start at the entry guide to adjust the machine from the WAV 12-1F profile to the WAV 16-4F profile. Okay, so notice on your machine, it will be marked from the factory 16-4 for your right side entry. So we're just going to break this loose, bring it over, line it up, tighten it in place, and make sure that you're aimed into the machine. Now that we have our right side entry guide set to the factory alignment point of 16-4, we're going to use a 24-inch wide piece of material in the entry guides. We'll just set it in there. Gently apply pressure to the back side of the left guide and tighten it in place. We want to roll front to back to just make sure we don't have any movement left to right, which we should be good there. We're currently in the process of converting our machine. Now that means we need to take a few parts out of the machine. So we'll have one short guide rod in the center of the machine and then a longer guide rod here from the entry. Now the longer guide rod will have 1, 2, 3 fasteners that need to be removed, and the shorter guide rod will just have 2 fasteners that will need to be removed. All right, now that we have removed the auxiliary guide rods of the machine, we're going to lower our center forming rollers. To do that, you'll need a ratchet and a 7/32 driver. So there are 28 fasteners, 14 on each side of the tooling. We're gonna come in, take that fastener loose, then come on the other side of that same roller. Once you get both fasteners loose, carefully push the roller down. You'll see that the fastener now lines up with the down notch position. We want to tighten that up. Now it is not necessary to over tighten these fasteners, so just keep in mind when you're putting this back in place that you don't need much. All right, when you get that fastener tightened, I'm going to repeat on the other side. You'll repeat this operation 14 times for a total of 28 fasteners. When we are lowering our center forming tooling, we want to start at the entry of the machine and work our way to the exit. That way we don't accidentally miss a roller. All right, now that we have the entry guide set up for our 24-inch coil, our short and long auxiliary guide rods removed, and our tooling in the down position, we need to widen our gold bars here at the exit of the machine. Now, currently it is set up at 18 3/16. We are going to add 4 inches to that. So we're going to need to take this out to 22 3/16. All right, the next step in setting up the machine for the WAV 16-4F profile is to remove the WAV 12-1F entry and exit shear dies. This is another great opportunity to discuss shear safety. One thing I would love to just keep reiterating, and can't say it enough, is to keep your hands either in front of or behind the shear, and that we're never reaching through the shear. Now, last step is this exit side 12-1F shear die. Now that we have our entry and exit shear dies removed, we're going to place our shear blades. So we're going to move the shear blades out, and we're going to install one more center shear blade. So all I've done so far is just move this #1 shear blade over one position. We're just trying to gain a little bit of space in the center here so we can add another shear blade. This far left shear blade, we need to move it to the machine left so that we can get another bolt location to add an additional blade here. So I'm just going to just kind of put it in place loosely for a moment. Now that we have all of our shear blades in place, we just want to tighten down all the bolts. Now that we have the shear blades installed on the shear and the bolts tightened, we're going to bring material through the machine and up to the shear itself so that we can install the exit side shear dies and align the shear dies and the shear to the material. Okay, so I've removed my lock from the power switch of the machine. I'm going to power up the hydraulic system and then go to the entry of the machine and feed some material in. Now we're going to feed a sample strip of material into the machine and just jog it in. Now when you do this, you do want to make sure that you listen and watch for anything that sounds abnormal, just to make sure that the material makes it through the machine safely. Now that we have the material at the shear, we're going to power down the machine and lock it out so that we can install the sheared profile dies. So I'm just installing the profile dies, starting at the machine right and working my way to machine left. You can determine the entry and exit dies by verifying if you do or do not have a chamfer along the top of the die. If the die is not chamfered, it means it'll go in the exit. All of these dies we're just going to install kind of hand tight at the moment. Once we bring the material through, we may need to make some adjustments. At that point, we'll kind of adjust each one individually to where it should be, and then we'll tighten it down. All right, now that we have all of the shear dies on the exit side kind of tentatively positioned where we think they should go, we're gonna jog the material out of the machine over the dies and just verify that the clearances are all pretty much set for the profile. Now, in doing this, do take care not to crash the material into the shear dies themselves. After removing our lockout, we've powered up the hydraulic system, double check that you're in forward and in jog, and then carefully jog the material out of the machine. So we've powered down, we've added our lockout, tagout lock, and we're just going to finalize the position of the shear dies in relation to the panel itself. All right, now that we have the exit side shear dies in place, we're gonna power the machine back on. We're gonna back the material into the machine and then install our entry side shear dies. Now that we've backed the material into the machine, we're gonna line up our entry dies with our exit dies. Again, this is a time where I'd like to point out that we're working over the shear, not through the shear. Okay, you want to work over the shear. You don't want your hands through the blades at any point. Take a quick look. You see how we have a bevel here on the entry dies. So what I've done is looking through the shear, not reaching through the shear, just looking through the shear. I've made sure that the entry dies are lined up with the exit dies. The entry dies are slightly larger than the exit dies. So you should see a consistent profile of the entry die, kind of silhouette of the exit die. Once you get the dies all lined up, we want to tighten the inside dies and then double check the outside dies. Okay, last step, we need to bring the material through the shear and cycle the shear as a test. So we need to remove your lock off the power supply and go ahead and power up the machine. Okay, make sure your machine's in forward jog, carefully jog forward. And once you get the material out of the machine, you want to use both hands and the maintenance mode cycle buttons to cycle the shear completely down. Back up. Power off. Now that you have your sample piece of the WAV 16.4F profile, it is time to reinstall all of your covers and your guards on your machine before use. If you'd like additional information on the WAV machine, please contact New Tech Machinery Sales, or you can reach out to us on our website. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe.